All right. Thank you so much. As usual, we thank you so much for your time and your wisdom. Oh my word. Look at me. Thank you so much. I'm not even going to waste any time. Um,
Spangeni.
one time, yeah, I'm ready. I've got my book ready to take notes. It's getting
All right.
easier and easier with each
Yeah, this is
year.
exactly where we started. If you remember, we had a practice round this season, actually. Yeah, so now we're
Oh,
gonna just just do a bit of justice to our season. But Dumelang, Sanbonani, Tawazani, Khanyale Sedi, Tamakwini, and greetings over the diaspora to those that don't speak the languages that we speak. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. Uh, yes, I know we said goodbye 2 months back, but yeah, we just owe a proper episode for our season of Het-Heru. So we are in our second season of our African calendar. This is the series that we've been doing with GOGO here. And the season is basically called Het-Heru, Kapa Het-Her, or Hathor in Greek mythology. In our native tongues down here in the south, we say Mamonontsha, Kapa Mvundisikazi, right? And then the principle of this deity is fertilization and the function is conception. But we're gonna unpack all these nicely now when we are starting with our episode. Are
yeah.
we, Goga, are you still there? I'm not seeing your visual.
I'm 100% sure. I'm trying to
Okay.
change. I'm trying to write all the seasons
Okay,
and
no worries. No
that
worries, no
stuff.
worries. Oh, let me check. Okay, let me just provide a link on my end as well to our episode. But thank you so much for joining us. Like I said, we are in season 2 of our calendar series that we're doing, and the season is called the season of Het-Heru, like I said. And as usual, we're just going to start with the things that align us or create a better resonance with the season that we will be in. So, with our season of Het-Heru, Togozani, and from Botswana, right? Royalty from Botswana, Togozani. Welcome, everybody, to those who've just joined us. Thank you to all members on the Moya podcast as well as on the Stones Care podcast. Thank you so much. If you like what we are doing, please, yeah, you can super thanks us here. But please do subscribe to both platforms. But yes, let's start with our lesson, knowledge sharing session here tonight. It's gonna be a quick one, we hope, unless there's gang questions. But yeah, it's quite straightforward. I think I like the beginning of the year where the seasons are just a bit more tangible and more self-explanatory. You know, I think when we're doing spiritual work, yeah, Kimo Ebang a little bit tricky to understand. But so I do an 8 countdown. So the season starts from the 23rd of October is up until the 23rd of November, the following month. And then the color of the season is turquoise, which matches the gemstone of the season as well, which is also a turquoise stone. And then the scent, yeah, the season is mimosa. The incense is myrrh. And then the tree is a tamarisk tree. The animals that are associated are the bull or the cow and the hooded cobra. Okay, so we'll just unpack a little bit into one of some of these things that align us with the season. And then the metal, we forgot. The metal is the copper metal. I think I have mentioned everything that aligns us with the season. So these are the tools that you're going to be using. So whether you're going to be dressing in turquoise, whether you're going to be putting your gemstone on you, or go your altar, kapa msamo, kapa iladi. You know, I know we don't have the terminology correct, but you get what I mean, right? At your sacred spot. Greetings, Azza. Nice seeing you. You're catching our lives nowadays. Thank you so much. But yeah, so whether you're going to be using the gemstone, but whether you're burning your myrrh, whether you are putting these things on your being, or whether you are putting them go, these are the things that align us the season in Aaron. Okay, Gogo, it's a bit weird if I don't see you. Are you done in the background? Yeah, I feel like I'm looking at myself. But anyway, let me try and
Yeah,
continue.
please can you focus on the lesson? I'm trying to type in everything you're saying.
Okay. Okay, cool. Yeah, I'll just imagine you there. But yeah, so anyway, so Het-Heru wa rona, like I said, oh yeah, and I forgot a little disclaimer. So if you are catching it with the young ones today, it's gonna be a little bit, we're gonna touch on a little bit of adult topics or mentionings. So yeah, so PG a bit there. We just wanna give a full explanation what the season is about. Like we said when we started, that we just touched a little bit on it because it was a practice round here, an episode when we started our series last year. All right, so this is our second time doing this one, but yeah, we're just gonna go a little bit more into it. But anyway, so the season in Ayagona, like I said, the principles, fertilization and conception. Now, from the season of Asa, we said that now this is now where new life is beginning. Now, the process of a seed going from of a plant going from seed form into a fully fledged plant, but this is representation of us as a spirit, because remember the series that we're doing, this is literally the journey of the sun. So it's mostly based on the solar calendar, but remember everything works in unison. So the lunar, so all the cosmic principles, right? So the placement of the planets, the zodiac house it's in. So everything lunar, everything stellar, everything of cosmic, as above, so as below, is also going to be factored on the series. As much as we are saying, Hore, we are tracking the movement of the sun, which is what we call the body of light, right? This is now going from conception, from month 1, up until all the way to the end. A new season where the cycle is completed, and we're doing this in the 12 houses, right? As we know, the zodiac house. So in this season, we are entering the house of Taurus, and I know the Scorpios are losing their minds right now, but this is the house of Taurus, which is represented by Het-Heru, which is represented by the bull, as we mentioned, with the animals that are associated with the season in Arona. So it's the cows, it's the bull, it's the hooded cobra. But yeah, I'm just gonna touch a little bit on the animals. So other names that Het-Heru would be known by was in our native tongues we say ke Mabontle, kapa ke unobuhle, and Nkomokazi yezulu. So the celestial cow is also another way that Het-Heru would be represented by. In other scholars, they refer to her as the sensuality, the divine feminine in sensuality, right? The representation, yeah, the sensual form of femininity, right? And what do we do in the season here? So if you have a little bit of an idea, this deity that we're working in, or the energy that is actually prevalent right now, or the energy house that we're going into in the next season now, you will see that there's a lot of weddings that are happening in the season. So the principle is the union that happens there. There's the in the air, there's a lot of festivities. So it's a time for celebrations a lot. You'd see representation at Het-Heru. So it's a woman with the solar disc, but with the horns going in a concave manner. So this is the wrapping in the sun. But what these horns would represent, basically, is the solar principle as well as the lunar principles in one. Because what Het-Heru does, now she merges forces, right? She merges forces in order to bring life across. So remember in Asa season, we said now this is the beginning where we are starting, but now comes Het-Heru and makes that fertility, Mamonontsha. She expands this concept, this life-giving concept here, and then she brings it into fruition, right? And in the season as well, there's gonna be, remember we said that we put our beginnings the Asa season, but right now it's going to be a lot of flow of ideas, a lot of like an expansion of a lot of ideas that happens. But Het-Heru also shows up now when we're having those internal conflicts in Atarona. So you're going to receive your messages. So you're going to be very aware of your dream space this season in, all right? Because this is where now you're going to be getting these answers that you are consistently asking into the universe, and which denotes again to color enaruna. So we know when you're working with the blues and those kind of colors, and we're looking at in energy form or in chakra format, then we know we're always dealing either with the root with cosmic elements, so either the throat chakra or things of the third eye or things of the crown. So in this season, though, we're gonna be working a lot from our throat, and we're gonna explain why. We did say that the goddess of celebrations, of union, but also in the season here, I remember GOGO last year said it's called flirty season or something like that. But a lot of presence of lust is going to be prevalent in this season. So there's a lot of lust. There's love as well. So if you are looking for your perfect person, this is the time. Because like I said, it's a time for unions. You see a lot of weddings are happening at this time. You see also Leather West. Now they're starting the festive period, right? You see the Christmas trees are going to be up now from beginning of the season here. The specials then at December are going to be starting here. And yeah, we know a lot of children that are born in June are literally made by this season, because it's just this prevalent energy of just festivities. There's also the liquor element to it, right? Because she's also the patroness of the wines and the beer. So when we are closing our season Enaya Nudes, we spoke about different offerings that every deity would put towards the ending and the resurrection Enaya Asa, or the birthing of Asa. And offering Het-Heru Warona would usually be bear, right? Which links back to, we spoke about it when we were touching on the season of Sekhmet Bast, right? So Het-Heru and Sekhmet Bast are two deities, but different sides of the coin. And we spoke Sekhmet Bast season that Sekhmet Bast is basically Het-Heru, but now drunk on wine or beer. Other scholars say beer, other scholars say wine, and goes on a vengeance for everybody that's doing, or everything that's going against the rules of Ora, right? So we said Sekhmet would be called the daughter of Ora, which is also now the same case when we're coming to Het-Heru Arona, right? Even though the name Het-Heru literally translates to the house of Heru. But we're going to link these things as well now, especially when we're going to the chakra system in Ayaron. And I just want to draw parallels and things to be a little bit familiar. Lerato, Togoza, I'm glad you caught the live too. Hi, Zandi. We haven't seen you in the longest either. But welcome to those who've just joined us. Yeah, you'll rewind for the things that align us the season in Ayahona. But Het-Heru also now comes as a lunar deity, right? So we said that our calendar is mostly based on the solar principles, but she comes now as a lunar deity, which also signifies again the divine feminine element to this goddess in Awarona, which is Het-Heru, right? And then Het-Heru appears now as part of a three. So she appears now in the third world of creation that we spoke about also with the season that we're just coming in from now. But she forms part of what we call the Dendera triad. So in that Dendera triad, and with this whole calendar, actually, this whole calendar is called the calendar Het-Heru, right, at Dendera. So this whole calendar is actually anchored on this principle in Ayarona, Het-Heru. So in this triad here is Heru, right, which is the principle of ascension. Then there's Het-Heru, now this principle that we're speaking about now, which translates to the house of Heru. And then there's Ihi, and in text you would see that, okay, this would be the union in Aya Heru le Het-Heru. But we're going to speak also, we're going to touch a little bit on Anpu also being a possible consort to Het-Heru and not necessarily Heru as a deity, right? But yeah, for those who are seeking your people, so you must get yourself an Anpu or get yourself a Heru, right? So those are the possible consorts to the people that are born in the season. And I know the Scorpios, you guys are losing your minds on that one, but yeah, you guys are Tauruses, like we touched on it. So we spoke about the crown. Yes, well, on the crown, Het-Heru. So this principle in Het-Heru, like I said, that she combines these elemental forces into one. So this crown of hers represents the waxing, the waning, the moon, but in other explanations as well. This is the sun part, the moon part that Het-Heru now combines, right? Which is now, when we're taking it on a macro scale, this is the divine feminine, the divine masculine coming together now for this principle of fertilization to come into fruition, right? And then we spoke about the million ideas that Het-Heru is gonna provide you with, but this is basically the fruitfulness that comes ka yona the season in ya Het-Heru ya rona. Now let's touch on her being inkomokazi yezulu kapa komohadi ya lihodimo kapa the celestial cow, right? So this is another principle where it's gonna show us how these principles sarona are so interlinked, because every time we're thinking fertility in terms of the feminine, we're always gonna think of God the mother, sorry, we're gonna think of Osset. But at times now when I'm mentioning celestial cow and goddess of the sky, now you're going to be thinking Nut, which shows again now that these principles again are all interlinked, because when I think Nut, I always think Noon, which is the water element to it, and Nut being the sky to it. But now let's look at the cow itself as a spiritual being, right? And in the season that we are currently in. So we know in Africa, right, we have MOKGADI arona, kapa the dowry, kapa ilobola, right? We'd be using cows to make that family building. I don't want to say exchange because we don't buy our people like it. So that exchange would also be represented now by the presence of the cow or exchanging, the cow, right? So this comes again now with the principle in marriages and unions would happen now. This prevalent energy that is around, right? And then with the cow, when we're looking at the cow itself, so this is now a divine feminine concept where now with the cow, it's a creature that gives us sustenance with milk. Now we go back to her being a celestial cow, Het-Heru warona, which is now again speaking to the Milky Way. We touched on the Milky Way a little bit, the new season. Cats, sorry, stop. So we touched on the Milky Way now in the season, Nuts and Arona, right? So do not be confused. Just think that all these principles are actually interlinked, right? And like I said, that with the cow now, this would represent fertility across different indigenous cultures or tribes, where cow itself, it will be the representation, this fertility principle, but in the feminine, right? So because we did touch a little bit on fertility when we're speaking on the divine masculine side. But this is now Het-Heru again appearing the season in. So if you're looking for fertility issues that you need resolving on, this is the deity that you're going to be invoking, right? Like I said a bit earlier on, that if you're looking for starting a partnership, this would be the time where you're invoking this deity or invoking this energy, the hymns that day, and this is how Het-Heru would be invoked back in the day before the temple Calender was painted with the zodiac of Het-Heru. So they'd be invoking her with a lot of drums, with a lot of sistrum, which is another representation, Het-Heru warona, where it would be a goddess holding this sistrum. So sistrum is a musical instrument, but how it's also constructed, they put, so they tune it in a way where now these frequencies from these four parts of the sistrum would represent the different elements. So fire element, earth element, air element, the water element, which again speaks to Het-Heru being the principles that brings all these elemental forces together in order for what is conception to take place, right? So remember, we made up of all these four elements, with ether being the fifth, but we don't, this cat, okay. But let me read Zandy's comment. On the 23rd, the sun will be in Scorpio, and we know the moon is currently in Aries. How's Het-Heru related to April god? Okay, so goddess, if you see on the when we're going into a new moon now, actually we're going into the moon in Taurus, right? And not in Aries. We are currently in Aries now, and which speaks again to the point that I like making, that our nature is not as rigid as we are, right? So we'd see we experienced the full moon just before the 23rd, right? Which was now the full moon in Aries, right? And we touched on it season ya rona ya asa. So because nature is not as static as us, we just using these dates just to get a little bit of consistency. But you would see where it's not exactly gonna fall on the 23rd, because the new moon, the season here, I think it's happening, it should be sometime next week, and then the full moon should be on I think the 15th in the month of November. So there's no relation to April God, and it's only April God because remember, the zodiacs as we know them are based, they are worded based on the northern hemisphere. So that is why for them the Aries season would happen in April, but we started our Aries season now. We're currently in our Aries season now because we are at the beginning. And if you're into zodiacs, then you know that the house of Aries is the very first house on the zodiac. So there's no relation here, Het-Heru, the Aries god. You will see, just Google where's the moon going into now in the season. And yes, and the sun is not in Scorpio, the sun is going into the house in Taurus. I think the last episode, just catch up a little bit on the last episode where I said that in the south, I think we are more at an advantage, right? We're more at an advantage of understanding this calendar. So it's not necessarily just the flipping of it, but now Hakere, we're tracking the movement of the sun. We're not in Scorpio. We are in Scorpio according to, well, the north is in Scorpio, but we're not in Scorpio in our second house of the zodiac if we're using the 12 zodiac system. Okay, I hope that's clear. Togoza Bongs, welcome. Togoza Kesha, Dimitri, welcome. To those who've just joined us here. Where were we, my queen? But so the season, Het-Heru, yes, the other element I wanted to touch on is the artistic part of Het-Heru. So you would see in the season as well, we spoke about how festive it is in the air, how you would see now the Christmas specials and all of that according to the West. They're going to be starting that season now, but also speaks to our artists now, right? And it's very interesting that the season happens just before the season, Jehuti, which is the spoken word and all of that. But we're seeing now we have big celebrations the season in Het-Heru. So she's the patroness of the arts in terms of singing. She's the patroness in terms of poetry, festivities, what else? Performing arts. So that art form, but I want to speak more on the singing parts of it, right? So like I said, that she would be involved with drums, with singing, with the system drums and all of that. But now when we're looking at who Het-Heru is, and with this principle in songs and singing, right? So we said that we're focusing now on our throat chakra this season right? Purification of our throat chakra. But now when we're looking at our Heru self, right? So for this one, especially for the chakra hands, we said our Heru resides here in our solar plexus. Né? And for those who sing, you know that you always need to sing from here, from the stomach, right? Which is where solar plexus in Aruna. So that is the interlink Yarona, our Heru self, and also le Het-Heru, the house of Heru, which is here, the solar plexus here, where we're singing from the stomach, and then we're protruding our throat. So that is another link that we can draw between Uheru, le Het-Heru, which is the house of Heru Ona Warona. I think I covered everything in terms of Het-Heru. But my queen, do you have any questions so far? And we don't have questions at the current juncture. Do you have any questions, any clarity seeking that you'd need?
I am perfect. I'm enjoying the lesson, enjoying the lecture. I don't know if anyone in the comment section wants to ask anything.
Okay, so we don't have comments and questions so far. We've read all comments and questions, but maybe we can go through the things that align us with the season. I don't know if I should expand a little bit more on that. But yes, to those who've just joined us now, the things that align us with the season, the things that you must put into practice. Sawubona, Anthony. We haven't seen Anthony in a while. Welcome, Anthony. Sawubona, my sisters. Great show. Thank you so much. But the things that align us with the season, we'll start again. So our season starts from the 23rd of October up until the 23rd of November. You would know it as the Scorpio season, but it's actually now the second house of the zodiac. We are entering our Taurus season right now. But the North are, as you know them, they are in the Scorpio season. And then the color, the season is turquoise, which is a blue-green color. And remember, every time we're speaking to the blues, it's always something to do with the cosmic stuff. So foresight, third eye, crown chakra, throat. So everything coming from here above, we're going to be dealing with that the season. And then the stone also, it's called a turquoise stone. We will be providing those for our Cosmic Resonance pack. And then the scent, the season is the mimosa, so not the champagne and orange juice, but the actual plant itself. And then the incense. The incense is myrrh. In our Bantu tongues, we call it Myrrh. Yeah, so it's one of these ancient ones, kapa, one of the pepos, like a Roman Catholic, Leo Anglican church. So this is one of the things that they burn. So it's a very, very ancient one, very powerful one as well. And then the tree is a tamarisk tree. So a tamarisk tree is also another ancient one, where it just speaks now to this principle. So a Taurus would be Scorpios. Yes, that's correct. That's correct, Zandy. And they're losing their minds, I know. Yeah, so the Scorpios, the Taurus people, Barona, the earth sign. Where was I? Tamarisk, yes. So tamarisk, so it's one of these trees that can withstand like crazy, crazy weather conditions. But now speaks again to this link again, the Taurus, this principle that we are in. But it's not an easy to find one, I guess, this tamarisk tree. And then the animals, we spoke of the bull because she would be referred to as the celestial cow, right? The eternal womb, the not to noon, but also she's called the waters of fertility as well. So the celestial cow, or Unobuche, will just go through her names again as well. And then, so it's the cow, it's the bull, and then also the hooded cobra. So you know the cobra in the text that we do here, it's also called the wajet. You'd see it with a lot of royal people where there's a cobra sign on either their headgear or the staff that they would have. So this speaks to sensuality as well. When we're speaking of the hooded cobra, right? The sensuality aspect to it, besides the royalty aspect to it, besides there's also the fertility, right? When we're speaking of this, but when we're looking at cobra in ancient Kemet, we're always going to be referring to the royalness and the regal and sovereignty in terms of that. But in terms of now Het-Heru, it speaks again to the fertility and the sensuality of it. Like I said, that there's going to be a lot of themes of love and lust and sensuality now got the season in Het-Heru. So if you're looking for a perfect partner, this would be the time, but just be careful because there's still like a lot of lust, in Kanugo, Kapa, these desires that we'd have got the season. So just tread carefully, if you're looking for just a fling thing, just be clear, don't make it love if it's not love, don't make it lust if it's not, kind of things. But let's catch up on the comments here. Okay, we read. Oh, Mbusondaba, we didn't see you there. Togoza. Lerato, Orehai, are there any darker aspects to the goddess Het-Heru, since I believe there's a balance of dark and light in all principalities? Okay, I think you just joined us a little bit late than we started. So we spoke about Het-Heru and Sekhmet Bast being two sides of the same coin, right? And we spoke about how Sekhmet Bast now appears as so Sekhmet Bast is actually Het-Heru, the goddess of love and union and everything. But now when she goes on this rampage where she's just killing unaliving, YouTube, we forgot, unaliving these people that are going against the rules of Ra, because now Sekhmet Bast would be referred to as the eye of Ra, but the daughter of Ra. Oh my gosh, this cat is losing its mind today. But so that is the darker element to it. And I said that there's going to be a lot of drunkenness as well this season. So please don't lose your minds. I know we said it's 6 months of spirituality and 6 months of flesh things, but these are the themes that you're going to be coming across. There's a lot of drunkenness that happens. So the darker side of Het-Heru is still, it's not it's not a polar per se, right? Because there's no bad, there's no good, there just is, right? This is how she would also appear. So the drunkenness as well, we could say maybe it's a lower vibration, right? And then there's the what else do I wanna touch on? The bloodthirst, right? In terms of this principle in Aruna. And I think lust also is not seen as something quite virtuous, right? So that would be I guess, the darker side to it, and the lust and the drunkenness and all of that got the season in. I hope I answered you, Khosikadi. But yeah, but you'd also see how all these principles usually that appear in dual form, right? So there's Het-Heru and Het-Heru, Gabao Het-Heru now being the opposite of Uanpu. But we're gonna just expand more on those on our space and also on the ebook that we do provide on our space. Gogo Dr. D, Lesedi Kanklu, Lesedi Nkhono, thank you for joining us. Buhle says hiya. Zandi, okay, we asked your question. Mbusondaba, Oti, thanks for the information. I've been struggling to sleep, restless. I just feel that. I think your comment will continue. Gogi, sorry, Gogo, does Het-Her have anything to do with the root chakra? No, Gogo, but it's yes and no, ne? But yeah, I'll just expand more on this one. Says Togozani, Zandi, Joe, I wonder if they date each other. That'd be crazy, right? Yeah. Mbusondaba, continuing there, Uti, struggling to sleep, restless dreams, that makes sense. Does this talk to what you're referring to, Gogo? Yeah, so Ketha, okay, so for now, I think the full moon could have been your reason for your sleepless nights, because we just, yeah, the moon is waning now, right? It's just losing its superpowers at the moment. So it might be that, but it's got the season. Please do guard your dreams, right? Because you're going to be receiving a lot of answers in dream format, the season in, but also your ancestors speak different, or your guides speak differently. But this is a space, yeah, dream space. Like I said, now speaking to the color in, yeah, the blue greens, it's always got to do with things of the cosmos. So I hope that answers you, Ketha. Anthony says, Gogo, I always learn so much from your lessons. Thank you for your great work. Thank you so much, King, for always coming here and catching up. Leo, we haven't seen you in the longest either. Peace and love to you. Zandi, utepuza agashongo uguti itlas noma iteaspoon. Jojo tank ilungile the season. Do the most, Gogo, do the most. But yeah, remember also there's consequences to a lot of things. But yeah, this is a season, very merry season. You know, it's festivities all around. There's the Pride situation this weekend as well. So there's a lot of celebrations and festivities that are happening now. I don't know in the art space, because I know what's that hip hop event? That one passed already, but yeah, like just see around, like everybody's just in a festive mood, you know, myself included. But I think yes, root chakra. Let's answer the root chakra one. So Gogo, are you referring to the sensual nature of those bottom chakras? But not necessarily to do with that. But when we're looking at Taurus as a zodiac house, right? So that speaks to this grounding and this firming and this earth element. So you could take it slightly there, right? But in terms of the chakras, I'd say a bit more on your the sacral, right? Because you're speaking of sensuality and all of that, and Bomdawo reside there and all of that, you know. That we speak of, so ceremonies for the season, it's just festivities, like I said. Nothing too hectic, but please still do your water cleanses if you must, because like I said, that this is the eternal womb, you know, those who've been working. We mentioned the book last season, the Sacred Woman, right, where the goddess, they work with the element Nut. So I think a lot of people also had that little confusion, okay, is Nut and Het-Heru, what's that relation? But these principles are interlocked. You know, that if whatever represents the divine feminine, you'll see like little snippets in another energy principle, right? And remember that all these 12 houses, they reside in all of us. It's just you'll be in higher frequency with a certain one, depending on the time that you are born. And when we go deeper into it now, we have the division star, the deacon house, right? So that's why maybe a Taurus, yeah, D1 is not the same as a Taurus, yeah, D15, for example. But this speaks to the deacon divisions, the zodiacs. But if we don't have any more questions, Petrus just joined us. Dumelang Makolo. But yeah, we are wrapping up, and yeah, I think in wrapping up, Gogo, do you have any questions? But I remember specifically, Lasha, you said this is flirty season, right? But yeah, again, speaks of this prevalent energy. And like I said, our winter babies, we know who they were made these times then at festive. Royalty ore Gogo ke kopa gore o tlhalose gore keng ga ngwedi e tletse re palwa ke go robala. Okay. Okay, so in translation, though, she's asking gore, why do we struggle with sleep when it's the full moon, right? So this speaks basically, Gogo, just for our diasporic people, but we're getting to a point where we're just going to speak our native tongues. But just to touch a little bit on it, yeah, the full moon, why we struggle so much with sleep around the full moon. So as we know that our bodies are made up of, okay, different scientists and scholars, but we'd say from 70% going upwards is what makes up our bodies, right? So obviously when the tide and the wave, which is now controlled by moon Enayaruna, that will also affect her as well. You know, very insomniac that season. And remember, Lona, moon carries its own energy, and because it represents the divine feminine. I don't wanna say but the divine feminine would show up like that, you know, anything to do with the waters. What's it called? But the mistress of the waters, you know, we know how in spirituality now the divine feminine is like the representation. So the link in Angono is because of the makeup your body, and as with the wombs as well, it will affect her a bit more compared to those who just have the spiritual wombs. But that is the minute meaning, and we're getting chaotic and all of that. And also speaking to Agermwedi is also linked to spirituality. Inyanga is literally meaning the moon, right? And this would be a time where little rituals you are speaking to Mata Angweti Arona. I hope go Arabin and Chasing Needle says grace and gratitude. Lerato again, thanks for answering our questions. It was an educational time as always. But thank you so much to those who've joined us tonight. I just saw with Gogo's text here that we said we'll just wrap up with the names Het-Heru, but in our native tongue. So if you're familiar with the Greek goddess Hathor, this is the same principle. Remember, they stole our stuff from us. Okay, Hathor. Mamonontsha, speaking of the fertilization. So taking these things or these ideas that we have now, we are expand that and just giving us a lot of these ideas or a lot of answers to whatever it is that we've been asking. Kasinguni, kapagasi Zulu is Mvundisikazi, right? So remember, retreka movement, yeah, the sun, and this body of light, kapa the seed that we are now transitioning it through. Kapa, you as an initiate, remember, Kerona, the initiate, we are the body of light, actually, you know. So 6 months of pure spirit work and 6 months of flesh things. Gogo, your question says, why is this moon bringing cold weather? Ish, Gogo. I don't want to answer as a conspiracy theorist, but I think just to just to not be a conspiracy theorist on that one, I would say seeing the cosmos from New Year, we saw that our rains were quite delayed. But yeah, can I not answer you on that one? I don't think Yeah, I don't think it is how it's supposed to be, but the rains are, yeah, season A. Now we're gonna be experiencing a lot of rains. But yeah, the weather is, yeah. I think the hot people are very busy nowadays, the people that are manipulating weathers are quite busy. But remember, when we got into our spring equinox, our rains came late. The star constellations that denote that it is spring now, they were a bit delayed. But like I said, that nature will always go at its own time, and at times nature will heal itself. We see like Naga season yabo, or say it right, we would see the chaos that would happen now in KZN, because honestly, like it's gonna, yeah, let me just say nature repairs itself. Gogo Azar says, appreciate the lesson as always, Amaku. Thank you, Gogo. I appreciate you and appreciate Gogo your platform as well. Thank you so much for pausing. I didn't see, like, I think the season of Asa went by very, very, very quickly, and we are back here now in a new season. But yeah, please do the most. Take care of yourself, celebrate. I think maybe a good thing to do that this season would be just do a lot of gratitude things, do celebrate the little wins that you have in your life, whether in gratitude form or whatever it is, still do the rituals. Like I said, that Het-Heru also comes now to bring resolution, whether internal resolution or in that speaking to that union concept of, whether it's in the family itself, whether it's conflict within self, but there's that principle of unity. And you would see, I know we're not retrograding as yet, but there's also things from your past maybe that need like a little reconciliation, but just be careful as well. Tread very carefully. Like I said, Horea, at times, yeah, we need to read the energies for what they are, whether this is lust, this is love, this is repairing, this is somebody just testing the waters. So just, do the most, continue with principles of purification. You can still use your water element at the season, whether utloyako kometing or eng, but yeah, do the most, use your stones, lighter, your myrrh smells absolutely amazing. But we will be providing those on our platform, our ebook. Hopefully it should be ready on the 23rd. I know we're late the last season, but Gogo, that is all I have for tonight.
I have one question, Gogo, because we went into quite a lot about love and stuff like that. How does this translate in work?
In work,
Yeah,
in terms
in terms
of
of
like,
productivity. I see it's fertilization season. So
yes,
what
yes.
what what does that mean?
Okay, so I remember when we started the season of Asa, I said, now this is a time now to be planting new things, right? Now when Het-Heru comes, so remember she's the force now that brings, let's say the active energy, yeah, the sun, the dormant energy, yeah, the moon, now to bring things into physical. It gives them that shape, right? So whatever, and I spoke to how you're gonna get now a lot of ideas that are happening because you planted the seed now that the Asa season, and now it's becoming fertile. And when it's becoming fertile in terms of work, your work might go in a different direction, whether it's your hard work or ink. But this is a time now, everything about fruitful. This is the energy enaya asa. It makes everything that's possible to happen, it happens now that the season in ya Het-Heru, because now this is everything fertilized in the season. Kwanon's expansion would happen now that the season. So in terms of work, whatever you planted now that season in a ya asa and said, okay, this is the new idea that I want to be working on. But now you're going to be getting also a lot of answers on how am I expanding this idea that I said I want to be working on. So in your workspace, in your a relationship space, in everything that speaks of ascension, and everything that speaks of things as he is but fertilized. This is now the energy or the deity that you're gonna be invoking Gayona this season. But it's like I said, it's a very it's like I think the 6 months in the flesh time. It's very easy to implement, continue putting in the actual work now. We plant it in thought form. And I know we're supposed to have a vision board kind of situation party, but yeah, we didn't manage to do that. But right now, continue the physical work on the ideas now is happening now that the season in Het-Heru, umoya uyavuma, the energy that you need is prevalent now. Are you answered, my gogos?
I am. I am. I am. I don't know if anybody else has got any more questions. Otherwise, thank you so much.
Thank you. And Asama had just joined us, but thank you, Gogo. Siyabulela, Bakulu, Siyabulela, Gakulu to everybody and all the energies that you brought here. But we will be expanding more on this on my platform. Yeah, we're gonna just unpack a little bit more, but I hope you got the gist of the season. But love and likes to everybody, Ankan Ma'at, African peace, and African unity to everybody. Makos.
Thank you so much, Gogo. Thank you so much. As usual, we appreciate your contributions and your wisdom. And thank you now for aligning us for the next season. Thank you
Thank you
so,
so
so
much,
much.
Gogo.
Thanks to everybody
Happy
joining.
celebrations. Do the artwork as well. Do everything great to the season. Happy
And
new season
balance
to
everything with
everybody.
water.
Yes. Player, you can still be a water bender in the season of Het-Heru. So thank you so much, everybody. We are out. We'll see you guys the next season. We're not sure what we'll be doing next season.